Hi there, students. So this is going to be the second in a series of drawings about developing your drawing. And in general, I want to make sure that you feel free to develop the drawing in the way that you learned in basic drawing. At the same time, I don't want to leave you out in the wild trying to figure it out yourself. So in the last video, I talked a little bit about adding the value. And once I get a handle on the values and feel like things are kind of going in the right direction, then I start kind of going over the entire drawing and adding texture, surface, detail. Okay? Whenever you're drawing, you want to focus on the whole thing at once, but that doesn't mean that you're just drawing like this. So for me, I was focusing on these folds, and as I was focusing on the folds, I tried to develop some ways to describe the texture. And so I feel like this is a little designy at the moment, but I brought in a softer pencil, so I was using a 4B. If I had a 6B, I would probably bring that in. It's also an option to bring in some charcoal pencil. The charcoal is going to interact differently with the graphite than it does with other charcoal. So feel free to experiment, but also understand that sometimes things get a little wonky when you are adding those different materials together. And it might not do exactly what you want it to do. At the same time, it might do something even better than you expected it would. So feel free to experiment. And so I was playing around with texture, and when I do texture, the best advice I know and the best advice I've heard is to look at what you're drawing and pretend that you're drawing, that your pencil is doing what that texture is doing. So as I draw, I think of how the threads are moving and the kind of the gestures of each little thread, but I don't focus on each little thread. I think of the gesture of the whole. So what is the thread doing? It's swirling in and out. There are a few little stitches on the edge. How can I describe that? And I just kind of investigate and let my mind wander with the gesture of the threads of the texture, if that makes any sense, which it very well might not. So then I moved to, let's see, what else was I doing? I was doing the cardboard, and I was trying to find kind of an even way to add the pencil without, because I know that that shadow in the back is quite even, but then it also has these lines that describe the cardboard. And depending on how much time I have, I might really get very detailed with making it feel exactly like cardboard. I might not, though. I might decide, you know what, this is good enough. I'm not going to overdo it. I'm going to just make this be an even texture. So really kind of, for each of you, you want to find the place where you feel like you've been challenged sufficiently. And that is your own place. I try to figure out if you've done that for the grading, but I would like to leave it up to you to figure out where that challenge point is. And you'll see that for me, I find that place in terms of, you know, how much do I do so that you have enough guidance and so that my drawing gets to the places where I want you to see where a drawing gets to. But I could very well not finish this drawing. Most demos, I don't finish. I'm using air quotes here. Most drawings I don't finish. I bring them to a place where I feel students have gotten what they need to get from them. And then I focus on other things because I have a lot of things to do in my life, and I want to make sure that I have enough time to do all those things, like responding to discussion boards and posting different things and all that kind of stuff. So working back here, and I think that what we'll do is really learn from each other, learn how other people add texture, and we'll see how these developed drawings go. There are lots of tips and tricks that you can use while you are drawing. And one is that a lot of people draw with their hand on the paper. And I find that it's much better to draw so that your hand's off the paper, but there are areas of detail where you're going to want to put your hand on the paper. And also, I mean, it's hard not to ever put your hand down on the paper. So use a piece of scrap paper, and then you won't smudge the whole rest of your drawing. So if you're working on a little area of detail and you want some extra control for this area of detail, put a piece of paper down, and then you won't smudge the whole rest of your drawing. There are lots of tutorials on YouTube that will have somebody drawing really quickly. It'll speed up the video, and they'll be drawing a glass jar or a reflective object. And those are really fun. And I also think they're very informative because you see kind of the movements that the artist is making, and it can be really, really informative. Let's see, more tips and tricks. Let's see, for texture, again, you just look at the object and pretend that your pencil is doing what that object is doing, or going over the surface the way that object is going over the surface. And then there are little things that you might find. So maybe for the cardboard, maybe I draw lines that are fairly consistent, and then I erase where I've figured out those lines are going to be, and that creates the grooves of the cardboard. I think that would be pretty effective. In terms of the reflection on both the cup and the shower head, you know, you're not going to be able to see that reflection unless you get the values dark enough to see something that bright and brilliant and light. So really think about what the values are. There's probably going to be a lot of color, and if you need a way to extract that color, then take a photo and then remove the color. Just take a photo and put a filter on it where there's no color, so that you can have a sense of, okay, that is the darkest, these are my middle grays, and this is, you know, this is other stuff, okay? Think of depth. So think of where is the background, middle ground, and foreground. And that should be something that you're thinking about while you are setting up your still life. And from there, let's see, what else? Tips and tricks. That's what I have for now. Okay, enjoy your drawing. I'm looking forward to seeing what you put on the discussion board and hand in the assignments section. I think this will be a really fun way to get to know each other, and I appreciate that you watched this video. Have a great day.